All right, so I want to go into the actual theory now. I'm getting this soul death information from Tim Fletcher, who has a YouTube channel, and he's very good. All right, so basically, the premise of it is that a child who grows to be um, a narcissist on, there's several different kinds, might have started off because of this process. And this process would be that this is coming at it like child abuse or child neglect or having narcissistic parents. But I also would say that could also be drug addicted, alcoholic, mentally ill. Fill in the blank. Parents who don't care. Like whatever. So that's the kind of child I'm talking about as a starting point. Okay. So you just have to keep that in mind. It's not like somebody who's growing up in a predominantly healthy environment. Okay? Okay. So then the reason they would have like the house, the Bible saying a house built on sand will, what does it say? Like the foundation, just washes away. Whereas a house built on, I don't remember the saying, but brick, solid, something, stone will be a foundation that will last. Okay, so it's kind of the same thing. It's like the ego of this child is broken. It's broken. It's not complete because you're supposed to be forming your ego as you're growing, especially in the like 1 to 5 years is like a critical point. And then on, and if that doesn't happen, then you're talking about a ego that is not solid, so it's amorphous. It's not reliable. It's not complete. It's kind of like a premature baby that maybe would need additional help to breathe if its lungs aren't developed. That kind of, if I'm using a metaphor. Okay, so then what the child does with that, since they have this unformed ego, is they're going to, once they're getting treated horribly, and obviously they're wanting this terrible treatment of them to stop as fast as possible so that they can not be in constant pain. So what they do is they look to themselves, and children can do this. They have brains and minds. They're just different than ours, but they are there. And the child will think, what can I get rid of that is causing this to happen? Because children always blame themselves. They don't blame the parents. They blame themselves. So because it's too anti-survival to blame the parent, because like as a child you think you can't survive without the parent, so, or caretaker, so you don't blame them, because if something were to happen to them, even if they're terrible to you, you don't know how you would have housing or shelter or anything, or like, just, I don't know. It's just, also parents are supposed to be a mirror, or like when you hold a baby, part of the baby's development in that psyche is to be looking in your eyes, so that the child is mimicking you and then developing a persona. Okay, that's part of it. So if that is missing, which they've done like tons of research, especially like in orphanages, like I think it was in Russia, but Eastern Europe, they did a lot of research where it's like children who were never, babies who were never picked up, never held, just ignored, or, you know, not even turned over, or like left in, you know, wet pants, whatever. Like serious neglect. They don't get that. And that's why, like, sometimes hospitals will have like a policy, like with babies who are on drugs, that volunteers can hold them and feed them, because it's like that mirroring is super important. So because it's helping solidify an identity separate from the parent. Well, it's tied up with the parent, but it's like through the eyes of the other, they understand, they have eyes and a face. Like it's like understanding who they are. Their identity is forming. So the child not getting these things will think, okay, I noticed, like I'm talking as a child, that when I care what mom or dad thinks of me, it's a mistake, because they tell me I'm bothering them, or I shouldn't have feelings. Feelings are, you know, like asking for things is wrong. They yell at me. They basically hate me. It feels like. So the best thing I could do for myself is to stop caring. Like if I take the desire to be cared about away from myself, that will protect me. So the child, the soul death is the child taking parts of its soul and removing them from their psyche, and either burying them or like killing them. Forget, it depends on how damaged they end up being in the end. I shouldn't use the word damage. How less attuned to normal development they are in the end. So then they might think, okay, when I'm hungry, that causes a problem, I'll just hold it. Or, you know, some kids get punished if they go to the bathroom too much. They'll hold it. It's like that kind of thing. But then they can't hold it forever. So, you know, like there's bedwetting, then they have a bigger problem and a bit more hatred, or worse hatred towards them. So it's like the child will do all these things to sort of barter with itself to determine how it can make itself smaller, less troublesome, less a target, and then it'll start acting that way, okay? And then you end up with somebody, who doesn't have all these characteristics that frankly make you human, okay? You can't have empathy without care, and can't have really personal relationships with people without some kind of bond. So, and then the mirroring with the identity mirror thing, that's screwed up. So it's another problem. So you're going to look to you're going to seek approval from others, not your parents, in the future, especially from personal relationships, or maybe bosses at work, or something, things that are critically important to you. It's not going to be like you care whether the bus driver acknowledges you. You know what I'm saying? So everything that's hidden comes up maladaptive, I guess. It's like you can't completely kill it, stunt it. It's there. It's just there in a changed form, or so low, incremental. It's not going to make a difference. So you do all these things, and then the child, possibly is being treated better because all the things that annoy the parents about them have been disappearing. So they're tolerated more, though they're not given more care. So this is a soul death. And then later, a narcissistic, I don't know what you want to call it, like disorder, personality is formed because you can't be a human being without an identity. So a way to create an identity becomes a narcissistic mask. Narcissistic mask. And that is created to survive in the world. And it's a hardened shell to keep others from hurting them. But since they don't have all the qualities they need to be a full ego, they're going to need to pull them out from other people to feed themselves, to create what they were denied, or they denied themselves. Okay, I'm gonna have to take a bit of a break, and I'll be back later tonight to finish this